We love featuring artists you should know about, and today we're heading to Nashville to chat with award-winning singer-songwriter Trey Calloway. Trey grew up in North Carolina. He's the son of a traveling preacher. He now performs weekly in Nashville. His latest EP, Worth a Shot, just came out last month, and he's not wasting any time. He's got a brand new single called Wanted Man that comes out on Friday, and you're going to hear it first today. We're excited to have Trey on the show. First, Trey, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Mr. Rickett. Hope you're having a wonderful day today, sir.
Oh, it's great. A little chilly here in Wyoming.
Is it, Rick? I wish it would cool down a little bit here in Nashville, man. It's pretty hot still.
Yeah, that's right. Still pretty warm there. You're a son of a traveling preacher, Trey. That had to be interesting. When you look back, what do you remember most about those times?
Well, I grew up Pentecostal in Pentecostal churches. My dad was actually an evangelist at the time, and so he was a traveling preacher. And so we would go from church to church, and he would preach what's called revivals, where you'll be there every day during the week. And I would always get up and sing before his sermon that he would preach, and it just kind of got me catching the music bug from an early age, I suppose. I was probably about 6 years old. Now.
Yeah, you were a seasoned pro before you even knew you were a pro. Probably.
I thought I was.
Well,
yes, sir.
It had to be cool looking at your Instagram account, your dad watching you sing, and then you watching your son Cash sing. That was awesome. That's an incredible clip on your Instagram. How cool was that, Trey?
Well, the coolest thing about it is that, I didn't ask him to get up there. I didn't ask him to get up there. He just came up and said, "Hey, Daddy, can I sing a song?" And I said, "Well, yeah, sure, buddy." And I was in a hometown crowd, and so everybody was like cheering him on, wanting him to do it. It was absolutely packed. This little bar down in Myrtle Beach called Captain Archie's, and he gets up there and he says, "Daddy, I want to do your song, Work and Sing." And I was like, "Well, do you know it?" He said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready." I didn't have to cue him in. I didn't have to bring him in on the beat. Man, I just played it, and he sang it word for word, man, and nailed it. And I was probably the proudest papa ever at that moment, man. It was one of the proudest moments of my life, to be honest with you, Jeff.
Yeah, you could tell you were glowing. Which
I was, man. I was on cloud nine, dude.
Yeah. Well, and it's awesome. I mean, how much has he heard that song? He's probably heard it, you practicing it, but, I mean, he knew it like the back of his hand.
Well, I don't know if other country singers are like this. I suppose that they probably are, but I use my son and my baby sister, who are both the same age. She's 8 and he's about to turn 9, and so I kind of use them as a focus group when I got new music to show them. I'll just kind of, while they're back in the back seat riding in the car with me, I'll just turn it on. I won't say anything, and I'll look in the rearview mirror. And if they're bobbing their heads and if they're singing along by the second chorus, I'm like, all right, we got a good one. And so I played Working Thing for him, which was the song he sang with me. I had played it for him 100 times, but the fact that he had the ability to memorize those lyrics that fast, it blew my mind. And that's a trait I saw in him. I was like, yeah, I think somebody's got the music bug too, man. So
yeah.
You never know, Jeff. You may be interviewing him one of these days.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully. Yeah, go check it out. Trey Calloway Music. He's on Instagram. Go check it out. You can watch the video clip of it. You were influenced by Garth. Boy, I can really hear Garth and Alan Jackson when I'm listening to your stuff. You love the 90s country sound, which a lot of people do, Trey. Is that pretty much your influence?
Well, yeah, early on. It was gospel music, like we talked about, and then, yeah, right around the age of, I'd say, probably 13 or 14. I was a young teenager. My parents bought a Garth Brooks Greatest Hits album. It was the Garth Live album.
Yeah.
And man, from the second I turned that thing on, I was hooked, and I knew that's what I wanted to do as a career, man. And then as time went on, I got into the newer guys too at the time, Jason Aldean and all of them, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan. I just had a big musical love of country music from that early age. And then it delved in. My mom and dad were like, well, if you're going to like country music, we need to get you listening to the roots. So they went and bought me a country classics, and I was listening to Willie Nelson and Conway Twitty and George Jones. I mean, in my household, if you don't like George Jones, that's like a cardinal sin, So
yeah.
that George Jones is usually always playing in my mom and dad's house.
Well, I think, do you reference Merle on One Tough Job?
Yes, sir. That song is actually written about my dad and all the memories I had, because when my dad was preaching, he was also working another full-time job as an electrician. So he would always come home covered in dirt, and the lyrics are all in the song where, I just have these vivid memories that watching him come home from working all day. He's the hardest working man I've ever known in my life, and I just wanted to write a song to kind of commemorate him and honor him. So I tried my best.
Oh, it's a great song. We played it in the first hour this morning. When I was researching you, I heard the song. I was like, that's a killer song. I love that song. So that's a good one.
Thank you very much.
One Tough Job. And you were just up. One Tough Job. You just got the 2023 Texas Country Music Association Songwriter of the Year. How? You're not even in Texas, Trey. Were you? When you had to be shocked.
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. It actually came through my manager. My manager had been emailing the Texas Country Music Association saying, hey, how do we get into this? He doesn't live in Texas, but he's very much a Texas style artist, and they were always really nice and like, yes, submit your songs to us. We'd love to hear it. Anything you got. So we sent it to them, and we never expected to win. You never expect to win anything, but then she called me and said, well, guess what? You not only you got nominated, but you won, and you're going to get to play at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth in November. And I was like, I had to sit down, man. I mean, that's one of those milestones for me. It's like the Grand Ole Opry, playing at Billy Bob's is something else, man.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It really is.
You're up for all kinds of stuff. We have a bunch of international singer-songwriters, artists on the show. He's been up for those. Josie Awards, you're up for a couple Josies that are coming up later on this month. Carolina Awards he was up for. So, yeah, go check out his website, Trey Calloway. Music.com. You can see everything that Trey's up for. There's a ton of them. You and your girlfriend, Raina, you went to Eric Church recently. How was it?
It was absolutely fantastic, man. I'm so glad you asked about this. By the way, folks, all the folks listening at home, Jeff Rickett, you're a great interviewer, man. I'm really enjoying this interview. So you're asking me some good questions, buddy. Well, we had an absolute blast. It was our second time in 2 years going to see him. I'm actually wearing my Eric Church hoodie that I bought at the first show. It was at Spectrum, which is more of a stadium type environment, and then this past one was at PNC, which a crazy great story about this concert. So the song Springsteen by Eric Church, he's from North Carolina. It was written while he was at a show seeing Bruce Springsteen at PNC, and that was his last song of the night. And he pointed way back to the back, in the lawn area, and he said, I was sitting right back there with a girlfriend of mine, and I wrote this song, and it's crazy how coming back here just brings all those memories back. And man, I got to be honest with you, I started to cry. If this, music can just speak to you, it can take you back to a place in time. It can bring back old feelings you haven't felt in forever, and it's just crazy the power of music. So if you want my honest opinion, Eric Church is one of the greatest entertainers in country music history, and we've kind of turned it into a little tradition where we go see him every year, and it was a fantastic concert. I would say this one was even better than the one last year, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, it looked like, what's it, an amphitheater or something? It looked like it was kind of a little intimate place. Yes,
sir. PNC is like a big outdoor pavilion amphitheater type place, but it's pretty big. I mean, there's a lot of room for a lot of people, and it was absolutely packed, man.
Oh, yeah.
The sound of the crowd was, how that sound, and me as a guy who's kind of trying to work my way up to that kind of venue, man, seeing that just fires you up, man. It puts a fire under you and really gets you going. You know what I'm saying? It makes you want to be there. I wanted to jump up there with them on stage and start jamming, but I can't. They'd probably have call security on me.
Yeah, you'd be getting tackled. You can make the news that way. There you go.
Yes, sir. Maybe I should just do it.
Get your name out there. Well, Eric Church was in the news recently, and you being an indie artist, I think you're with a label. You're signed with somebody, aren't you, Trey?
No, sir. I am completely unsigned, completely 100% independent, man.
Yes. So this is perfect, because Eric said that I don't think you need to have radio now. I don't think you need to have a label. I don't think you need to win any CMA Vocalist of the Year. I don't think you need any of that anymore to make it. And you have 99,000 followers on Instagram. You're doing it, Trey.
Well, here's the way I look at it. I look at the music business. This is part of what I love about Garth Brooks, and I tell everybody this who asks, is that Garth treats everybody the same. He treats his fans amazing. He treats his band great. He treats everybody that works with him or helps him in his journey. He gives them a shout out. I do think that you still need personal relationships in this business. And making relationships with radio DJs is one of my favorite things to do. I love DJs because they're in the music business. They love the gift of gab. Like, I can talk the ears off an acorn, and I can tell you can too. I mean, it's part of your job. And so developing those personal relationships, I think, is still crucial. Nobody can make it alone. Everybody needs help. So that's where I stand on that. As far as the label things go, I do believe that labels have something to offer. I think as long as they let an artist be themselves and be the person that they've spent years crafting, because it takes years to craft a sound and an image and a style and a brand. It takes years to do that. And nowadays, you have to do that on your own before the labels ever come along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I stand with that. I do think that there's some benefit to labels still. You know, it has to be the right deal. It has to be the right situation, because it's all about personal relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're building those relationships. We had Waylon.
We're trying, man.
Yeah,
we're trying, man.
It's hard.
It is tough, but you know, it comes with the territory. Doing this for a living ain't just about strapping on a guitar and getting up on stage and singing songs. It's about making people understand that they mean something and that they're important. You know, that's the way we approach our shows. Every show we play, I'm not scared. I'll point somebody out in the crowd, somebody who's got a frown on their face or it looks like they're having a bad night. I'll straight up point them out and say, hey, what song do you want to hear? And 9 times out of 10, every time, you know, sometimes, Jeff, you'll get somebody who's just grumpy and wants to be grumpy and they want to drink their beer and be left alone. And that's fine, you know. But sometimes, usually, by the end of that song, you'll get that person smiling and dancing and having a good time. And that's what the music business is about to me. For me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Go check him out. TreyCallawayMusic.com. He's on Facebook, X, Instagram. He's on TikTok, YouTube. Go check out all of his videos. His brand new single, Wanted Man, comes out on Friday. Well, you're in Nashville now. Every Friday night you're at the local. Saturday night you're at AJ's. How huge is that? I mean, how much has that made you grow as a performer, performing every weekend for, you know, I mean, you're performing like 4 nights a week, but you're guaranteed those 2 slots. How big is that?
Well, honestly, I've got 2 favorite clubs in town, and that's AJ's and local, and I absolutely love both of those gigs. They're very different gigs. So on Saturday night when I'm at AJ's, it's downtown. It's going to be packed to the gill. Everybody's partying and having a good time. They're there to get rowdy. So Saturday night is like my rowdy night, you know, where we can just let it rip. And then Friday night at the local, it still gets rowdy, but it's more of a listening place. It's more of a place where people just want to come and hear great music. And my band on Friday night and my band on Saturday night are pretty much the same band. You know, we change out a player here and there. But on Friday night, I've got my drummer, Tristan, guitar player, Darcy, my bass player, Blair, and Joe Spivey. I don't know if you've ever heard the song Seminole Wind, but Joe Spivey played fiddle on that record, by that John Anderson record. So that's Joe. He plays with us. He's also in the Time Jumpers with Vince Gill. He plays with us every Friday night. And we really started to gel because we've been doing the gig for a while. And it's a really good, fun time, man. The word's getting out there. And to answer your question, it is starting to get the name out there that people know, man. If we go see this band on Friday night, we're going to leave happy and we're going to hear a good show. And that means I've done my job.
Yeah, that's huge. So, yeah, if you're in Nashville, go check him out. He's at the local on Friday night and AJ's on Saturday night. We'll put you on the spot, Trey. You were in Charleston not too long ago. I was in Charleston like a month ago. You're big on Myrtle Beach. Which town's better?
Man, all right. So I have to give it to my hometown crowd. I got to say Myrtle Beach. Although Charleston was phenomenally awesome, the food was incredible. We went and toured a bunch of historical sites. I'm a big history buff, so we went and saw a bunch of old buildings and took some tours. And I don't know, man, it's a close second, but just because of home field advantage, I got to go with Myrtle Beach, man.
Yeah. They're both pretty
I'm
sweet.
sure I'll get some flack. I'll have some people messaging me on here.
Well, when you walk in video, did you do that in Myrtle Beach? Where'd you film it?
We shot that in Myrtle's Inlet, which is right south of Myrtle Beach, at this place. It's a Wild Horse Saloon, and the girl lead in the video is a great friend of mine. Her name's Alyssa Katz, and she came to me. She actually approached me and said, "Hey, let's do a music video. I want to get into the acting business," because she's a big TikToker and does all that stuff. And she said, "Well, I want to get into acting." And I said, "Well, okay, cool." She said, "Well, what about a music video?" And I said, "Well, I'm down." So she listened through my catalog on Spotify and picked out a song she wanted to do, and it was really her brainchild, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. So me and my manager wrote the script, and then we hired a good friend of mine named Tony to shoot the video, and we did it all in one day. Man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great video, and a lot of lovely ladies. Even Trey's woman's in it, so you can go try and see who's who when you watch you walk in video.
You can see the part where she turns around and winks at me. We put that in there on purpose.
Yeah, there's your clue right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one it is, the one that's winking at him. You got a ton of music, though. I mean, you got the EP that just came out last month, and you're not wasting any time. Wanted Man comes out on Friday. That's the way. That's not even on the EP. You just released that. I mean, you're just flying these songs out, Trey.
We're trying to, man. I had kind of a revelation a couple of years back. I was sitting out there. It was actually during COVID, and I was working with my dad. I was doing construction with my dad, and the sun was blazing hot. It was probably 101 degrees, and the sun was just baking me. And I looked up, and I think it was God or something. I believe it was the good Lord talking to me. He said, you need to get your songs out there. You need to stop wasting time, and all these songs that I bless you with, you need to put them out into the world, because what good is a gift given if you don't share it with everybody? And so I kind of had a revelation, and so ever since then, man, I've had a fire, and I've just been putting out songs as much as I can. We try to stick to every 4 to 6 weeks. We try to get a new single out, to keep people wanting more, man.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just, and then the videos are coming, the singles are coming, the EP. It's just. He's got a ton of stuff out there. Go and check him out at TreyCallawayMusic.com. He's got some preview songs right when you go to his website. So, I mean, what's next? How are we going to make it? How are we going to break through?
That's a great question, Jeff. I wish I knew the answer, buddy. I think at the end of the day, it's like what I said before. It's about making personal connections one fan at a time. I honestly believe you make it one fan at a time. You change somebody's life, or you help somebody get through a breakup, or you're their wedding song, or you're just a memory of theirs that sticks with them. I think the greatest artists have that ability to elicit that emotional response from people. And I don't know, man. If I had the secret sauce, I'd be in a mansion somewhere by now, or I'd be on a ranch somewhere. So instead, I'm gonna buy me an island.
Yeah, exactly. We would all be there. But Wanted Man, your brand new one. This is a cool song. Tell us about this song, Trey.
So Wanted Man is just a little clever take on the whole wanted man, wanted outlaw type thing. Instead of running away from the law, he's running away from love for a while because he's been burned before, and then at the end, he realizes that all he ever really wanted was to be wanted, because he found the right woman. And I wrote it with my great friend Andy Renfrey. She's an awesome songwriter and an even better person. And we just kind of wanted to make something that was a little bit clever, kind of makes you think a little bit, but still had that kind of poppy country, rockin' type feel to it. And I think we accomplished that. We recorded the song at Saxman Studios here in Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, after I get off the phone with you, I've got to go do a session for a friend of mine, a recording session. I'm going to be singing some songs he wrote today, so I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, he's heading right back into the studio.
Yeah.
He's not slowing down at all. Go and follow him, Trey Calloway Music. He's at TreyCallawayMusic.com. Go and follow him. He's on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. He's everywhere. Wanted Man comes out Friday. You're going to hear it right now. Trey, thanks so much, buddy, for coming on.
I appreciate you, Jeff.
It's Wanted Man. It's Trey Calloway. It's KIX 96.5.